As our heroes were fleeing the destruction of the Erinyes chamber, their backs were met with a potent explosion. The results shook the entirety of the vaults to its core and left them buried alive amongst the rubble. With a series of panicked awakenings and strange events, the heroes were eventually saved after a new, mysterious, yet familiar stranger came digging for them. A new incarnation of Raphael himself, now older and perhaps wiser, but irrevocably changed by a powerful force known as the Shaika. What's more, is it appeared as though Azori was no longer among them, unsure if she left, was taken, or worst of all, permanently buried in the deepest parts of the rubble. The heroes struggled in their resolve to push on without her. Heading back to Otari to recover, Orlarin revealed to the heroes that the Gauntlet's dim glow had returned, and each needed to take the time to settle their minds on the future of their arduous task and the continued mysteries that are buried ever deeper.
As many of you may know, despite the fact that I struggle so much in recalling words on a regular basis, I'm a big fan of words. So is James. We're both big fans of the Illusionist podcast, which we've mentioned many times over our expansive podcasting
career.
Look, thank you.
Right out the gate.
And I was just thinking the other day about how fun there's some words that are out there. It's just like I love the word lackadaisical. It's just chill and silly at the same time. Cattywampus is a good one. I was just wondering if there's any words out there that come to mind that just have a silly sound to them. They're usually they're not like everyday speech or in everyday usage, but there's some that you just like are in your immediate repertoire that you love to slip in once in a while.
Yeah, I got a couple. Whenever I'm asked a question like this, first of all, I always think of this one episode of The Simpsons, and I'm not a Simpsons guy, so don't come at me for that stuff. But Krusty's giving advice to somebody. He's like, it's not about words that are dirty. It's about words that sound dirty, like flamingo and muckluck. You like that? Maybe another one for free. Muckluck.
Those comedy K's, man.
I like muckluck.
Yeah. So I always think of flamingo. I think it's such a weird word to describe a bird. I don't know why, but I've always thought that was a weird word.
It is an odd.
But one of the words I like throwing around is lexicon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but like lexicon and compendium and like codex, and I like those kind of words, like real archaic stuff.
Parlance.
Yeah, parlance is good.
They all really fit into this hobby too. So
I've always liked muckluck because of the phrase "a kick in the ass with a frozen muckluck."
Ooh,
I've never heard that in my life.
Me
You just
neither.
made that up.
Very Canadian thing.
No, that's a very, very Canadian saying.
Yeah,
it's like
Jesus
wicked,
Christ.
wicked north. That's from farther north than you'll probably ever go.
Okay.
I don't know it.
But mine is metacognizant.
Why wouldn't it be?
Exactly. That is literally just painfully self-aware. Anyways, move on. Get me out of here.
No, let's all be a
For
little
our
more aware
listeners,
of
that's just
camera.
one step shy of omnipotent.
Omnipotent.
And the God complex is coming through here. Okay. As a big fan of words, a user of words pretty much every day, I've got one that I use pretty much, well, too much, and I look like a dick, and it's demonstrable. Because it's fun to say. And then one I've been trying to shoehorn into a conversation but haven't gotten there yet is quixotic, which is like in the manner of Don Quixote.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with the people around you on a daily basis that it could be used, but if they don't know what it means, it would probably just make you look like a dickhead. So I don't know. It's a quixotic kind of thing to do, going and rushing, trying to put a $4 fucking word like that into a sentence.
I love it. I'll tell you, there's one that, because when I was thinking of this, this intro band topic, and it occurred to me to just double check some, what other funny sounding words are there. So I Googled it a bit, and one came up that actually I didn't expect. So it comes from my childhood. So we grew up, we didn't have any money really. So we had a lot of cheap meals, like many people. And it was just, macaroni noodles with tomato sauce and like ground beef. And we called it slumgullium. And there was lots of different families with different names for it. But slumgullium turns out is like a pretty old phrase for like a meat stew. I had no idea where to come from until like yesterday when I looked at this up. And it has its roots in something really disgusting, which is something along the lines of the mixed blood, oil, and salt water that collects on the deck of a ship when the valuable parts of a whale are being handled.
That sounds like slumgullium.
Yep.
It really
It
does.
sounds- It sounds like a made-up sci-fi word for like infant blood.
Yeah. To be fair, it's
pasta soup.
slumgullion,
Yeah.
like an ION at the end, but we called it slumgullium. Like, delicious.
I thought you were going to say you grew up at Lake Titicaca or something.
I wish. That would be an even better story. Another one of my favorites, though, that cropped up was, it actually turns out to be part of one of my favorite sitcoms, which you didn't realize. It's called, have you ever heard of the word Katzenjammer?
Yeah.
No.
Anyone? Yeah. So Katzenjammer just means a hangover. But I had heard this before from one of my favorite sitcoms called Black Books. And there's three main characters in it who are just kind of, degenerate, chain smoking, constantly drinking like friends. And the main character is Bernard Black. One of the characters is Manny Bianco being white. And then Fran Katzenjammer, Fran Hangover, basically. I just thought it was kind of a
Is this
fun
the TV
little
show and
nod.
you just referred to it as a book series?
No, it's a series called Black Books.
Oh, okay. I misheard you. I
It's in the book.
I was
I don't
too
think I said book
busy.
series.
I was too busy thinking about how much of an asshole I would think you were if I was hungover and you used the word habsubjam or whatever the fuck you just said.
Oh god.
Oh, now I know what to use next time.
Oh, I'll be so choked. I'll be like, listen to all this scuttlebutt.
Well, speaking of funny words, I actually have always kind of loved the word enigmatic. I don't know if it's funny sounding per se, but I think it's kind of neat. And I think Raphael has turned into quite the enigmatic character, despite the really silly sounding name that he holds. There's this little balance of wonder and mystery and just absurdity and silliness built in to that character. And I don't know about you, the rest of you, but I am stoked to see what the hell is going to be up with Ruff from here on out. And we did just finish
I'm
our
so
last.
fucking nervous.
We've just finished our last episode, a re-entry from episode 100, with a nice little, like, sort of, it was a beautiful little scene, a little dramatic and a little cozy at the same time, of Lump and Ruff kind of having this moment from the graveyard overlooking the glow from the gauntlet. Assuming the two of you are still there and prepared to move forward, I guess the question is, where exactly is Tulak and where is Kruka, and how do you all move forward from here?
So it's been a couple of weeks since we recorded. Can you just remind us the gauntlet is lit up?
Gauntlet is glowing again, very akin to the first time you saw it.
Okay. And nothing else has happened?
Nothing else has happened.
Okay.
Tulak had returned to his caravan in what you could say is an absolute frenzy. He is falling to absolute pieces right now over the disappearance of Azori, the reappearance of Raphael, who he hasn't seen in forever and should be in Absalom, the reappearance of the light at the Gauntlet. So I just like to imagine him, after requesting Longsaddle, he just heads back to the caravan to try to get some much needed sleep, closes the door behind him. It's low light in there, candle lit, with just the eerie blue glow coming in from the other side of the curtains. And he just comes in and just like, I'm just picturing the bags under his eyes and just the utter exhaustion of day after day in the Gauntlet. And he just tries to sit down, but just the glow, the blue glow coming in, just reflecting onto the cushions of the divan and across just all the hanging objects and little trinkets. So he just stands up again and frantically just starts to push and pull and get the curtains so that they're set, and then no light is coming in at all. And then he collapses just into utter blackness and awakes to the sound of banging at his door. And so he kind of wearily opens the door, and just what he sees on the other side of the door is the thing of nightmares. The banging on the door is that of the townsfolk, and behind he just sees a blinding blue light, and his head is just filled with the screams of the townsfolk as he just sees the armies, the legions, the waves of the dead in the distance, just hacking down all the members of Otari. The screams ring out in his ears as he falls back onto the cushions, reverberating, his head pounding, as he closes his eyes, wailing and whimpering and pushing himself back into the cushions, trying to escape from the horror that he sees in front of him. Moving backwards, he opens his eyes, hearing the banging again, but he's back in the darkness of his caravan, and he sees nothing. He hears nothing but another rap at the door. And he opens it, and he sees, I presume, Longsaddle?
Sure.
That's right, you're on the spot
for this? Okay.
No, you're not supposed to be prepared for. Well, you have to be prepared to roleplay.
Was that impromptu, Scott?
This is totally impromptu. I have no idea what's going on.
Shit. Well done, buddy. If that was off the cuff, that was awesome. I was fucking enthralled.
I had an idea for it, but then I didn't end up writing anything down, so I just kind of went with it.
Bullet points in the noggin. I get it.
That's right.
It was my best man speech at my buddy John's wedding. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so Longsaddle is rapping on your door. After you woke up from this nightmare?
Tulak hears the rapping at the door and opens it.
And Kalino Lathanar is standing there, approaching you for the very first time in a long time, since before you entered the Gauntlet, and probably more significantly since the night of the Howling Moon.
I didn't expect to see you. What can I do for you, Kalino?
I didn't expect to come. Well, here I am. He looks like better. You saw the last time you saw him, he was, nodding at you from a distance and was a little worse for wear, having been basically mangled by Jal. But he sort of hard swallows and almost seems unsure of whether or not he should be here or why he's here. And he says, "Rent's due is all." But the rest of the market saw fit to pull in for your lot. Just thought you should know.
Tulok turns and will open up his bag, and he pulls out the money for the rent. He hands it to Kalino and says, I appreciate the sentiment, but I believe everyone will need their own money for rebuilding. I haven't been late a day yet. Not what I can remember, so it might not be true, but I appreciate you coming by. A touch of normalcy is what I needed. To be honest, I should have come to see you first. Not about rent, though. About Jaw. I knew he was alive, and yet I did nothing. I saw him in the gauntlet, deep below. I knew he was feral and I knew he was a beast, but he just seemed resigned. I thought maybe the torture of him being alive there was enough punishment. I never thought that he would be able to come forth like that he would move from the depths to attack Otari again. I just did not think he had it in him. And I truly apologize to you for your loss so many years ago, and the losses we experienced again because of my inaction.
A hand comes up to his chest, and he clearly holds on to something beneath his shirt that's dangling around his neck. And he says, "Don't think too much on your inaction, for I took action, and it almost had a worse result. It's done. And I never thought that I would find at least some peace. I thought I'd go down swinging. I did go down swinging. But there's more to it than that. Mine's done, for the most part." And now he looks up at you squarely in the eye. "But yours continues. Otari has your back. Never forget that." And he takes your little coin purse and walks away.
And as he's walking away, Tulok, his eyes follow him as he kind of, I assume, walks back into the marketplace, maybe disappears around a corner, and Tulok's leaning on the doorframe of his caravan, and his eyes drift up towards the gauntlet, and he just sees the ominous blue glow. Head pounding, heart hurting, feet hurt, back sore, tired like he's never been in his life, but reinvigorated.
And I'd like to point out that that light is not nearly as pervasive and as it was in your dream or in that moment you were having. It doesn't reflect off everything. It is subtle. It's like it originally started. It's so subtle that only Rin really noticed it.
Right.
And now when you know where to look, you can see it. So maybe that reinvigoration comes from the fact, okay, it's not on our doorstep just yet. Maybe we can do something about it this time.
And he begins to prepare for the day. I mean, 8 hours rest is well and good for restoring his spells and getting him ready for the day, but I mean, I think he could sleep for a week if he could. But he gathers his things and gets ready to find his friends, talk to Longsaddle potentially about the defenses of the town, and to get his shit together, because he knows that whatever is coming isn't going to be easy.
All right, Krucka, improvise scene, go. What do you got?
So Krucka was making his way back to his cabin in the woods to the east of Otari when he noticed the light. the light was what brought him into this adventure in the first place, and it just kind of filled him with a sense of dread, an absolute state of semi-frenzy. He just kind of like keeps walking and looks out towards the sea, and there's some slight chop in the waves, and there's a chill in the air, and he almost feels like memories flooding back into him of being submerged in that water, and hearing voices up above it, and almost in the same kind of way that the light is calling to him right now, hearing something kind of like faint and ethereal and almost pleading to come to get it. And he just freezes and feels like a piece of him's been lost somewhere here, but he feels like there's a grander purpose, and he kind of trudges towards the library to start researching flesh warping.
Okay. Trying to figure out here on my calendar what time we would be at. From what I gathered, you guys made it back to town early morning, but Scott has implied here that there's going to be a big long rest here, which makes sense. Which would put you at like about 4 in the afternoon. Do you want to like rest until then, or do you want to go rest for longer? Everyone rest and then take some time to research or what have you. Kind of let me know how you want to go about that. I also, before you do, I have to make a quick note about who was it that I made roll a fortitude check last episode. I made a mistake in that. I didn't actually need you to roll the fortitude save. I had already rolled it.
Hopefully you rolled better than me.
4 days beforehand. And I didn't. That's why you're on the list to have. When I asked you to roll, it's actually because you did contract Velstrak tetanus. When you fought.
I feel like you did say this last time.
The Velstrak.
Yeah, you brought this up.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mistake was that you passed and were okay. That's not true. I rolled it when you first got hit by it. And then the onset was 4 days. On the onset, you've reached stage 1 because it's already been rolled. So you'll recover from this when it's appropriate for you to roll next, which actually makes you clumsy 1.
Chill.
For 1 full week.
Wow. That's like a quarter of our game so far.
Which is not good. Like, not good at all.
I never thought to get Tulok a tetanus shot when I got mine like last year, so that's just dumb on my part.
Yeah.
Quick week off at the Rod and Bow Club? Or?
If you tell Lump you feel like shit, I can absolutely get rid of it with remove disease or whatever. I think.
Yeah, it is. I believe it is a disease. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I got you. Buddy.
If you could just simply remove it, that's good. If you can't, you're stuck for a bit anyway. So at the very least, right now, you are clumsy. Tell me how you want to rest. Tell me how you want to research.
Krucka is just going to go to the library and fall asleep in the stacks if he has to.
Okay, sure. In the library, you also have you hear whispers and rumors all around. There's like a buzz amongst the acolytes and the librarians about the miraculousness of Raphael's recovery, just suddenly coming back to life, and like this strange transformation that no one seems to have witnessed, but everyone's got 1,000 stories about. Up to and including the clothes he was wearing were suddenly mended, and the shield on his back melded into his to form armor around him, and like all these crazy stories. Everyone just seems to know that he awoke from the dead, and the rumors are abound.
They say those Shunies have 9 lives.
Nice.
But we can roll through some research checks for sure. If you want to just roll me a few as we talk about some other stuff, go ahead and rock that. I think we're looking at occultism checks.
Well, that's not great for me, but it's
check.
Something to do.
I think while this is happening, Lump with the Hat of Disguise as Sal is honestly just going to wander around town and enjoy being back in civilization, back around people that are, quote unquote normal, just not being a Knight of Last Wall, not being in a dungeon, living that fantasy of being back in their original body.
There's definitely something familiar probably from your Last Wall days as well. Like there's this tension in the air amongst everyone. Like there's this like anxiety of having to defend against an evil that they can't predict when it'll show up and how devastating it'll be. But there is this element of we have to go about our business. Life goes on, trade still continues. We can't afford to just stop and be scared. So there's a sense of like anxiety, but also the sense of, stubbornness and bravery that perhaps you're familiar with and maybe even respect.
Mm. And Lump is just going to go around and try all the tasty food in the market.
Cool. You get some great sausage rolls down there, I tell you. Whew.
And some second place lemon bars from some.
I was about to bring up the lemon bars too. It was like, how does Lump know about this? Yeah. I wanted to fucking make it, but
yeah, you come across a lemon bar stand that's got like, winner of this year and this year and this year, but you notice that recently, the most recent year is not on the list. Like you kind of see at some restaurants, like, winner of this award. 5 years ago.
What happened this most recent year? Why did you not win an award for this?
And there's like this young girl at the counter was like, shh. Don't talk about that. Do not talk about that. Who are you? Shut your mouth.
My name is Sal.
Who are you? Shut your mouth. I love that.
Fine. Lump just loud. I'll take the second place lemon bars. Thank you very much.
And you just start hearing like smashing and banging in the back of the stall behind a closed door, like still a rolling pin,
Lump
smashing
just runs
pots
out.
And pans. All right, floor's still all yours.
So after spending some time with Lump in the graveyard, or Sal at this point, Raphael really enjoyed the conversation. Like it made him feel like a person again. Probably for the first time since he woke up. Everything since then's been kind of a blur. This massive old memories congealed with this influx of new memories just really rattled his cage to the point where he wasn't even sure of himself. The only thing he knew for certain was his name and where he needed to go. So now that he's got this semblance of society and maybe a little bit more grounding, he's still not quite ready to rejoin society, and he looks over the edge of the cliff after Sal departs at Arthur's little shack in town and decides to make a little fire just outside of the graveyard. He just plops himself down, starts a little fire just away from the guards and everybody, somewhere that he can clearly see both the graveyard and the gauntlet through the trees, and just starts to read this book that he found on his belt. And that's kind of how he spends the day. He's not tired per se. I mean, he's exhausted mentally, but his body isn't tired. And even if it was, he'd be a little apprehensive to close his eyes again, because he's not sure if what he's experienced so far has just been his death knell or if this is actual reality, and he's in no rush to find out.
What book is it?
Well, that's a question and a half.
It is a grimoire. So it's a spell book, actually. Last time we left Raphael, he was a war priest. Now, with this infusion of the power of this multitudinous deity, the Shaika, more than just his gear has changed. His class, his background, his archetype, they've all changed. As much as he's the Raphael we knew and loved for 5 or 6 episodes, he is not that person anymore. Not entirely, anyway. Or maybe he's more.
As you're sitting there by this little fire you've built, you hear some footsteps start to wander up towards you. And when you look up, you see Warluman, kind of wandering your direction. and they sort of stop and kind of gesture, "May I join you?"
Without saying anything, he gestures to maybe a clear spot in the grass near the fire.
So Warlewin steps up and sits down and reaches into a pouch and pulls out these little white sort of round ball things and kind of looks around her, grabs a twig, shoves one on the end of it, and kind of gives you a quick nod and tosses the twig at you for you to quickly catch. And then she repeats it onto another twig and just says, "Little recipe I learned along the way, made from the mallow plant. Roasted in the fire. It's delicious. It's a good use of leftover animal parts, too. No wastage, as it were. Not for us druids."
He follows her lead to a T. Like, I don't know how far she cooks it, if she blackens the outside and peels the outside off and eats that like a real human being, or if she just gently toasts it like a monster.
No, she's like, everyone's got their own sort of strategy, but I like to hold it over just until it lights a flame, then quickly blow it out. Blacken on the outside, very soft in the middle. Careful, don't burn your mouth. And perhaps you go through a couple of these marshmallows in silence before Warlewin, you think, almost conjures up some sort of courage to ask, "Raphael, I don't know you well. There is something different to you now, is there not? Something's changed. I can detect. It's almost like the wild song rolls through you in a way. There's something about the first world about you now, which is a far cry from your original oaths."
My original oaths were to the Lady of the Graves. And I still serve her in my way, in this form, in this life. But you are correct, there is something new, different. There is more than just Raphael rattling around in here. And he points to his head. And much more in here. And he points to his heart. Whatever side that's on for Shuni.
It's down in the abdomen, actually. They're strange breeds.
Oh. It's so big, it takes up more than one side.
Yeah. Tiny little lungs.
Fuck.
Huge heart.
They call him a Grinch breed.
But with all these new experiences come new knowledge, new perspective, much new perspective. But I see you, Warlewin. I recognize your compassion, your dedication, your friendship. He says a little trepidatiously, and not wanting to assume more to the conversation than there is.
She's kind of like, "Yes, friendship. Kinship? Neither seem quite right, do they? Yet there is something shared between us in a way. I'm curious, Raphael. Do you have a goal? A quest? What is it you are going to do moving forward? Why are you back here and now?"
So James doesn't have an answer for that entirely.
Yeah.
I can pull something out, but does Freeman have an answer for that? I know this was kind of your inspiration. Yeah, please lay it on the table, and I'll
is that you still feel a connection to Pharasma. Pharasma had a hand in your return, but obviously it's more than that. It's also something to do with this first world. And there is a goal for both entities to stop Belcora. Maybe you're not clear why, but what Belcora worships and where she gets her power has both of these incredibly powerful entities now very concerned. And so they have set you on the path to stop her. And you could feel that, even if you don't quite know why. In a way, you are a borderline avatar of these two entities.
Yeah.
Perhaps Harold.
Purpose. Fate. Destiny. Time. What are these words but things we use? What are these words but things we use to put our actions into perspective? But yes, there is an objective, and that is to stop what the Horovexes wrought. Because the Shaika fears what could be. And my lady is concerned. Yes, dueling fates in the same direction. The river of souls, mixed with the compassion of the first world, all pointing me like a sword in the direction of the gauntlet. Maybe not to destroy, maybe not to kill, but to end. My purpose is to bring finality to the plague that has hummed in the air over Otari and Absalom for centuries.
And Warlewin nods her head and then begins to stand up and leaves you with, I understand the sort of looseness and connection in one's goal. It's ever-changing. For me, it's balance. And balance is, well, it's unachievable. But it is a constant noble goal. Your quest is to seek finality to this situation. But don't forget that should you find it, the finality might be yours as well.
It will be. I feel that very much. I have a single purpose. And at the end of that road, there is only darkness. I see it. I have lived it. But I am not afraid.
And she says, well, that is very fortunate for you. But don't let it become a weakness. Fear gives you an edge. And she turns and leaves. And there is this sense that you have, Raphael, that is, you feel as though you cannot remark upon it, you cannot see it in detail. You think if you could, it would almost destroy your mind. But there's a part of you that feels like you have seen the beginning of everything. There's a part of you that feels like you have seen the end of it all as well. But you know not all is set in stone. You just know that in the smallest of ways of the tiny pockets of the world, one can shift the result at the ending into something better than some alternatives. And that is part of the quest that you have. Stopping this is to navigate towards a better end to all things. The inevitable end.
And if I may add, the book that Raphael is reading is How to Unmake Fiends and Influence People.
Man. I had to resist so hard when James said Duel of the Fates. Disney, please don't sue.
There was some serious nerd cuts in there. Yeah.
Scott, what'd you say?
I said I was just happy it wasn't like the Book of the Last Moon or something like that.
Is that like a scary thing?
Have you read my feats, Freeman?
It's been a bit, but yeah, I've read them through at one point. Why?
Okay. Because my 5th level ancestry feat is empathy incarnate, and I was wondering if you had based that interaction around that feat.
I did not actually.
Okay.
Retroactively, yes.
Wow. Yes. Calculated the entire time.
But of course I did.
Okay.
Why? What does that feat do? Tell us about it now.
It actually comes with some class and some heritage and background spoilers. So do you want me to just lay all my cards on the table then?
Well, I guess that's up to you if you want to lay them out now, or if you want to roll them out as we go.
So I'll lay out the background because that's kind of
okay.
We've implied it. So his background is reborn soul. So he has come back from the dead. Empathy Incarnate is a 5th level feat specifically for those who have been reincarnated, and it gives you passion and perspective, and enabling you to quickly relate to almost everyone you speak, putting them at ease and quickly gaining trust. The mechanics are make an impression and request. The DC is reduced by 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
but it's just an interesting flavor feat for
flavor-wise, it works really well, and I think it's actually, I honestly think it's probably one of the most perfect feats based on the idea I had for this Return of Raphael and your intentions for playing Shunies and why, because they have this built-in, natural trust, sense of community and helpfulness. Meanwhile, you've become what some Pathfinder nerds will have already picked up on, one of in the timeline of the Shaika, which is basically many lives through all time built into one, which is wild, and it gives you perspective even though you don't know where it comes from. So yeah, I think it's a near perfect feat combination that's coincidentally available just for this. It's amazing that it exists, and it just fell into line with both those things.
Yeah, big fan of all of the feats that I'm going to pull out. Hopefully,
you got
this
some
episode.
Cool shit. It's awesome.
Yeah,
so cool. All right, Scott, take us away. By the way, sorry, Duncan, you failed that save or that check, that research check. I don't know if you want to do a few more or not.
You want to do a quick second burn? Second burn.
I don't know how many you want to roll, but roll me more if you want to keep going. They're 2 hours apiece.
Okay, I'll do one more, and it's pretty bad.
That's also a fail.
Yeah,
that's a fail.
He came out less informed than when you went in.
You're too distracted. You're actually in the library, just way too distracted by everything that's gone down. Perhaps visiting home, and that you're trying to put your best foot forward for what is going to come ahead of you, but you're just like Tulok. You're having this like moment now that you're back in town, and there's this crazy, just repetitive realizations of these things happening, and yeah, it's a lot to take in, and sometimes you just need to decompress more than anything.
I'd like to yes and.
Yeah,
he ended it back up in the bird section.
This is no time for boobies, and he runs out the door.
Everywhere he turns, he's back in ornithology.
This wasn't the Autobahn I was thinking of.
All right.
I was looking for Autobahn Bismarck.
Tulok opens the door to the caravan. As before, I said, feeling stiff, feeling drained, which makes a lot of sense all of a sudden, knowing not only that, but he's got tinnitus, which...
Tetanus. Not today.
Tetanus. Sorry, I have tinnitus. Yeah. He has tetanus.
Ringing in the ears and tetanus. That's no good.
Sorry, before we get too deep into this, I would like to advocate for a hero point on Scott's behalf, because that scene came out of fucking nowhere. And excellent.
Oh, no, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I think you deserve one too, James, actually, because That was all of this was improvised. None of this was planned. I'm usually pretty good. I plan a lot of things, but this was off the cuff across the board.
Thank one, thank all. Okay, so
I thought you were going straight back in the dungeon.
Tulok steps out of the caravan and is really feeling the stiffness, muscles spasming slightly and occasionally, head ringing. But he moves forward, and I think that he sees Sal off in the distance, running away from a bakery tent.
A quick little trot.
And
that shows Sal's actual kind of like lumpen form, but only you can tell that's what it's from. Everyone else thinks that Sal is just running funny.
So,
well, how did the people take it when you just started shoving lemon bars into his eye sockets?
Their eye sockets, but yeah, I was very curious about that too. I figured that I bought the lemon bars and then like walked outside to discreetly eat them because in the scene where I came from the pile, I mentioned that I think Tulok would be the only one to really notice that I was drinking funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
just holding up a newspaper and shoving it into one of their eyes.
Quick question that might not actually matter, but it only occurred to me now. Was Sal non-binary before the transformation into a flash?
No, it's a lot of there's some complicated personal stuff in there too, I guess, like just like I am masculine as fuck, but I do not feel like a man, and so like Lump is kind of that like Sal was me before and this is me now, and it's like these things don't align, and so there's like part of it like is still like Sal feels like a lie, but it was a comfortable lie that they've been in before, that they know how to act. It's their mask. Right. And so it's both a proverbial, like metaphorical, and a literal, like magical mask.
Yeah. And so I think like you can imagine, I don't know how important it is to Lump in particular for the appropriate pronouns, like we've been trying to do so much as players. But, maybe there is this noticeable recognition of Sal in disguise, being referred to as a man, as a he, him, or as an elf even, or what have you, that really like must kind of like rock Lump's boat in different ways. And I think that's really interesting.
It definitely stings, but it's one of those things they're very, very used to.
Yeah.
Like this is a thing that they lived as for a very long time and like centuries. And so
it's like walking around vulnerable with this mask on. It's such a wild thing. Crazy. Oh, role play's fun.
Role play's a lot of fun. People should do it.
It's all up into your heart and your goodies. Sorry. So, continue, Scott. Sidetracked there.
Tulok sees Lump or Sal in the distance and raises a hand. Sal, come here.
Yeah. Okay. What is it?
And so when they kind of join together, Tulok looks at them I cannot emphasize the bags under his eyes enough, but he says, come with me. There's a few people I'd like to talk to. Perhaps we can find the others, but in the meantime, I think that I just need to talk to Longsaddle very quickly before we go on.
Very well. I believe we could find Raphael fairly quickly. I left him in the graveyard. It shouldn't have been that long ago.
Okay, perhaps we should find the others first, and then we can have a quick conversation with Longsaddle, and then potentially we should talk to Rin.
Lump, roll me a perception check.
32, boss.
Damn.
As you sort of agree to depart and follow this loose plan, you notice this like stiffness in Tulok's walk, and maybe even a twitch in like his shoulder blade or something, the muscle spasming. Stands out to you.
Could you hold up just one moment, Tulok, and I'll roll a medicine to see what's going on here. 34.
I'm pretty sure that's enough. Let me just double check I'll get a DC based off the creature, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be plenty.
There's no way that's not enough.
Yeah. Right.
By level DC, that's like a
what is it?
10,
34.
13?
Well, I'm actually going to call it a critical success even. That's why I checked. So, Yeah, you detect the signs of tetanus right away. You could see the muscles are starting to contract, and Lockjaw is nothing to mess with. Yeah, you notice it right away.
I believe you're suffering from the effects of tetanus, Tulok. We should go by the Dawnflower Library and see if Vandy has prepared any spells that may be able to aid us in this today. And then we can go find Raphael. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes.
Okay. We have time. I know this. I feel the pressure. Let's go to the Dawnflower.
Very well. And then Lump, you can tell wants to say more, but just is willing, like, as long as Tulok's going to go get aid, is not going to push it.
All right, so you make your way to the Dawnflower, and that's where you bump into Krucka.
Krucka, coming out of the ornithology section.
Covered in feathers.
I was just looking for directions on how to get out of there.
Well, I'm glad we found you. We're trying to gather the party again and just see what we can do from here.
There is work to be done.
Have you seen Vandy?
Vandy's just walking by. Oh, hello. You said my name?
There she is right there. That's convenient.
Vandy, I seem to be suffering from an affliction, says Sal. Perhaps you could help me out.
It's some form of tetanus. I unfortunately did not pray for the ability to help him in this morning, and I was hoping that you had. We'd be willing to pay you, of course.
Oh, no, let me check. Let me see here. And she pulls a stool up and steps on it and then gestures for you to come over and bend down a little bit. And she's, she starts like pulling down your eyelids and like, looking in your eyes and doing a couple things. She's like, yes, okay. Oh, yes. I could see Sal here is quite
astute, observant.
What's the word?
Medical practitioner?
Any of the above, really. But I have not today prepared for such a thing. However, Warwin often makes sure that the druids have some magic prepared to combat such illnesses. So I would recommend you going to visit them. The Stone Pond Circle, Stone Circle Pond. What's it called? Stone Ring Pond.
Tulok looks at the group and Vandy and says, "I don't have time, but it's okay." And casts Cleanse Affliction upon himself.
Oh,
okay.
What's that?
That's Remove Curse. Now,
I don't know if that's going to help with the disease, bud.
Yeah, you don't have a curse.
Choose an affliction on the target, such as a curse, disease, or poison.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. There you go.
But hold on, actually. Is that heightened? Gentle restorative magic pushes back the effects of toxins.
Level 2 spell.
Yeah.
Why?
So,
where do you have it? Where do you have it in your list?
4.
Level 4. Oh. Yeah, you have it heightened. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember you taking Remove Curse. So Cleanse Affliction is the new one for the remaster. I remember you taking that like when you got 4th level spells because you got mad because they basically made you spend a couple.
But that is
right away.
But Remove Curse is. I'm confused because Remove Curse is a 4th level spell.
Right. So
it used to be. Now preparing this at 4th level makes it Remove Curse. Anything lower than 4th level doesn't work.
Yeah.
Curse is specifically heightened at 4th level.
I think it's one of those spells where they might have folded in a couple of options into one to make it a more powerful singular kind of effect.
So, Tulok, who I originally wasn't going to waste it if Vandy had it, but that's okay. Tulok casts it upon himself and will kind of stretch out a little bit and looks just only slightly more limber.
This just gives you the opportunity to counteract. This doesn't just get rid of it.
Right. So I rolled a 24. Can I just roll now?
24 versus the DC of the effect. That is a success, which means you would counteract it if it is a rank 5 or less, and it would be. So you are cleansed.
Okay.
And I can confirm real quick that Remove Curse and Remove Disease were both folded into Cleanse Affliction. And I assume the equivalent of like whatever the Remove Poison option might have been is probably in there as well. So yeah, they've folded them into the same spell.
Perfect. So, boom. Done that.
Very cool.
Tulok turns to Krucka. Are you finished here? Shall we continue on to go find Raphael?
I'm making no progress on these books, so we might as well get to business.
Strange for you, Krucka. Usually you're so
Yes.
good with books.
Well, we can't all be
spiders.
perfect all the time.
It's true enough. Thank you, Vandy, for your time, but we must continue.
So this one's Krucka, not Krugga, right? With Q's,
Yes.
not G's?
The Q's.
Okay.
Should I put my name on my
on your camera? I think you
Discord
should,
window
yeah.
as well?
I think we're good, but appreciate the clarification.
So I think
You can remember it because Krucka has 2 Q's like nothing else.
So the font actually looks like it's cut off in half of the things I've looked at today. So I couldn't tell if they were Q's or G's. But
Keeping you on your toes.
Tulok continues then with everyone behind him to move out of the Dawnflower and up the staircase to the
graveyard?
To the graveyard. Looking all the while though to see what the reinforcements look like. Are the nets still above? Are there spikes? Are there battlements? Are there guard posts? Really taking it in.
Yeah, there's still guards wandering the graveyard. You know that the patrols around the perimeter of town have increased very much, not just in the graveyard, but definitely around the Manhemus Manor and the Giant's Wheel, along the perimeter of the forest. There's definitely been an obvious increase in that. And yes, you see barricades have gone up in certain areas around the graveyard. There's like preparation for like wave after wave almost, leading from, closer to the entrance or closer to the middle, kind of where the staircase was. I think was where the big battle happened with the crab monster and stuff. So they prepared more for, the cliff and people falling down it and all that. You haven't seen much along the rest of the cliff edge around town. But from what you've gathered, there's a lot of work happening at the Giant's Wheel to prepare such things. Lots of woodworking and all that happening for that particular measure.
So reaching the top, Tulok sees Raphael in the distance by the fire, and they approach. Raphael, my friend, how are you feeling today?
today, alive,
That's a good
awake, concerned.
Well,
Like he's taking and pausing between each answer as if he's genuinely searching to figure out how he feels.
truly alive today is better than yesterday.
Yes, alive is always a good starting point.
He actually laughs at that. I guess he's not sure if you knew that he was dead yesterday, but he laughs like it, like the old Raphael.
What's Raphael Shaika's laugh? Ha, 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 something like that.
No, it's that young Shuni laugh that you would have heard a week ago, but seems like it's coming from 15 years in the past.
Mm. Oh, this
Yeah.
like old echoey belly laugh. Of
I
It's a
don't
lot
think
of years
that-
in Shuni.
I don't know. I don't remember if anybody told Lump that Raphael was dead.
I'm
We
not
don't-
sure
We don't know
I don't
Raphael was dead.
the rest of you knew it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
think
like
Krucka caught the wind of it in being in the library and these rumors, and they were strange to him. But I don't think any of you really knew, and no one seems to have brought it up.
But Krucka didn't meet Raphael?
until just now. Yeah.
Until, yeah, basically, yeah. What a
So
web we have here.
he doesn't know who they were talking about.
Raphael helped dig you out of the rubble in the column.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, like until then. I think until then, like until yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
Not in the original.
I don't think he would have necessarily connected the pieces of.
Wait, Physic was still alive when Raphael.
Yeah, that's why they didn't meet.
Yep.
And then
Raphael was written
Physic
out
died.
for
Yeah,
Lady
so no,
Gilwell.
I don't think. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So much has happened
Crazy,
in this podcast.
Crazy to think about. Yeah.
And it's been a month.
Yeah. That's it. It's only been a month. It's crazy.
I am very much interested in checking in with Longsaddle before we go back to the Gauntlet. Also, perhaps we should speak with Rin. If anyone has any objections, let me know.
I don't have any
We
objections.
are
I would just like to know who they are.
You will see.
are returning to the Gauntlet.
Of course, Raphael.
And he pulls the blade of his he's like been using his longsword to poke at the ashes of the fire, and he points it to the glowing. You remember what that omen brings. Should we not stay and defend Otari?
We have no idea how long it could be, Raphael. If you remember originally, we began all of this because of that glow. But there was some time before the wave came. We can't waste time.
Does Raphael remember how much time? Time's kind of his thing.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I think you probably remember how much time since the hero started towards the Gauntlet, but you don't remember how long no one seems to know how long the glow started before that. It was just kind of caught along the way, and then there was a big concern, and there's some time, and then there was some, and then Rin kind of pulled people together to check it out. But you don't know how long it was glowing before you actually even started the adventure.
Perhaps Rin will have some answers for us.
Rin. Savinci.
That's right, my friend. She was the beginning of all this. She brought us original three together. Samal, Physic, and myself. Tulok lets out a long exhale.
Raphael flashes back to this young Shuni running around her shop, just making a mess of shit while she's trying to have a nice cup of tea with Arthur. Because that's how Ruff was introduced to the story as well. Is he grew up with Rin essentially, and he looks down at the longsword and kind of catches his reflection in it, and his fur's all gray and his skin's all shriveled. One eye is scarred closed. I think I might give her a bit of a fright looking this way.
You know that Rin sees things that are deeper than just what meets the eye. Rin has seen many things. Perhaps she'll be able to help us with this.
You have not led me wrong yet, Sage Tulok.
I don't know, Raphael.
And he'll put out the fire with his longsword, using the tip as kind of a shovel.
And I think those words ring painfully in Tulok's mind, because Tulok was part of the group that sent Raphael to Absalom, and now he looks like this. Tulok was part of the group that has seen many friends fall at his side, and I don't think he thinks he's made all the right decisions along the way. But I think he keeps that to himself as they continue back towards town.
And Kraka just taking the context clues that this is a seasoned warrior at least, if not a good friend to Tulok, and having just seen him stab a fire out, he's like, all right, let's do this, buddy, and follows along.
And after that, the longsword just disappears up the sleeve of his his robes.
Ooh, one of those extendable swords.
Tulok, I know that you are eager to get back, but Raphael does make a solid point of staying here to be here when it happens. I also believe that there is something to be said for having my new shield delivered before we go back down there again. If we are to face Eurevian, the more prepared we can be, the better. He's already had 100 years or more to prepare. There's not a whole lot more he can do down there, but we have opportunity.
Tulok,
as you know, that it was on day 5 of the adventure, after you started the adventure, that the first wave happened. So so you're talking, and if you want to stay until the shield arrives, you're looking at a 2-day wait. So just like take that as you will.
Lump wants to, if Tulok is down to wait, Lump is going to sell their old shield and a couple other things, and then put in an order for a resilient rune. But they really want to have that new shield before they go back down there and fight a fucking devil.
And they kind of want to stay amongst society for a bit, don't they?
Yeah, there's definitely, that is absolutely a huge part. Like, Lump understands doing what needs to be done. They are an undead slayer, and there are undead in there. So, like, they're not forgetting that, but they've also spent a very long time in there. And the fact that Tulok is just so eager to run headlong back into violence, something that Lump has lived for their, life, like almost probably as long as Tulok's been alive, Lump has been living in that violence.
Yeah.
Lump's like, I'm on my 15, bro. Like, please.
So I think that as they're walking along the trail on the top of the cliff here, circling back around, Tulok's hearing this, but you can see his eyes wandering to the guards, to the battlements, back up to the gauntlet, down towards the city, and just has that kind of 1,000-yard stare. But he is taking it in. And he just turns and says, Turin's, let's try to find some solutions, some answers, find our way.
Very well.
I don't wish to be unprepared. I do wish to be successful.
It is best to have as much information as we can. If you believe this Rin person can help us in that, then I will abide by whatever her decision is.
And Tulok smirks slightly and says, I think that you'll like Rin.
I like most people.
Knowing that Cam doesn't like Rin as an NPC.
I know, but Lump does. Lump loves people.
What's wrong with Rin?
If I can just make a little housekeeping before they all got back together, I want to say Krucka did a little shopping because he has just run away enough times. I found out about these potions, and I want to get them. Around a potion of expeditious retreats. He'll pick up 4 of them.
Amazing. Okay.
Nice. I love that.
I'm here for it.
But he will do it very surreptitiously so no one else sees him do it. Because he doesn't want to look like a coward.
Imagine selling the heroes of Otari 4 potions of expeditious retreat.
He just does it with like a top hat and a monocle and a fake mustache on. Like, Krucka? Who is Krucka?
He's got the Van Dyke.
I am Guy Incognito. We can't do that voice.
I mean, you do have a skittering mask.
True, but that's for when I'm already down.
Dying, yeah.
Yeah, that's when the potion of expeditious retreat does not work.
Another wall of protection before that's not so bad.
He just puts on a robe of cold in the crafter's eyepiece.
Put on my wizard robe.
Is there anyone in the group that would not want a cup of tea? Just out of curiosity.
Raphael wouldn't.
No, thank you. I don't like my water to taste like leaves.
When you arrive at Rin's, she is already pouring tea with just her and 3 other cups. She's always been able to do that. Know exactly how many people are coming and whether or not they would like a cup of tea.
Did you say she poured herself a cup and 3 others?
Yeah.
Then she's wrong. I don't want tea.
Well, that's why I asked him. You can stop bringing it afterwards.
I just said I don't want my water to taste like leaves.
That was not, I thought you were just making a crack, okay? Don't ruin, now you're drinking tea and you're going to like it, okay?
I'll drink tea and I'll like it.
GM Fiat.
Lumps choking it down. Tea, but I said I wanted some.
I mean, you're welcome to just retake that and say
No.
Absolutely not.
It's absolutely fucking amazing. No, I'm with it.
Deus Ex Jasmine.
Oh, shit.
I guess it'd be Jasmine Ex Machina, but
yeah.
You get it. You get it,
Either one. All right, yeah, so you enter into Rin's Wonders. It's cozy, it's familiar. Despite the fact that you don't visit often, it's just there just is this familiarity and coziness to it, this comfort. And Rin is expecting you.
Rin, I know it has been some time, but I thought maybe you'd like to see our party now and who we travel with. And he steps out of the way of the door and settles in a divan as the others enter.
Hello. My name is Lump. And as they step in, Lump will remove the hat of disguise.
Yes, I was hoping for this.
And she does not bat an eye and just gives you a nod and gestures to a seat at the table. Welcome. I am Rin Savinci, and you are welcome in my home, Lump. In whatever form you wish to take. Who comes in next?
Kruka comes in. Have they met? They've met. They've had to have met.
They've met, yeah. Maybe not, like, super familiar with each other, but, you know.
Yeah, he was in the tent when he got introduced to the party, but I don't think there was much beyond him wandering into town and them kind of meeting up.
But you kind of probably know each other because you're both sort of local oddities in a way. Like, you're the hermit on the outskirts, she's the odd one in the town, and there's probably this sense of, like, you know, common ground almost.
Oh yeah, like a familiar but kind of distant nod with one of these. The listener won't be able to see it, but like you kind of just tuck your lips in and go,
yeah. Yeah.
Like when you're nodding at someone down the hall.
Yeah, and she just gestures for you to have a seat and is pouring your cup of tea.
And then Raphael enters a little trepidatiously.
And she doesn't bat an eye, but you get the sense that it's taking a lot for her to not bat the eye. There is just this stalwart, stubborn, blank, accepting stare in your direction. And maybe this air of confusion.
As he's walking almost past her, he gives her this childish, mischievous grin that I'm sure she's very, very familiar with. And it's not on purpose. It's just, it just happens. Like, he feels like he's pulling something over on her. And that, you know, that 12-year-old Shuni is just coming out in his expression again.
You just have one of those moments where you giggle and she's staring at you like borderline sternly, but not the stern look she used to give you when you mess things up. And then there's just that break in her face as the smirk comes through and she can't hold it in, and she just starts giggling with you. And you both have a moment together as if no one else is in the room.
He'll take her hands and as they're laughing, and then just give her a hug. And this is legitimately the first the first contact he's had with another person since he's come back. First physical, I want to say skin to skin, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's like this first intimate embrace of any kind. Yeah. Something that crosses that sort of threshold of like friendly intimacy.
Exactly. And he was he's been dreading this moment because this is just another opportunity for him to wake up from this wonderful dream that he's having.
And as you give this hug and, you have this squeeze together and then you pull away and she doesn't let go of your hand as you pull away. She continues to hold it, and her childish grin and her joy doesn't disappear, but the smile slips from her face and she looks at you a little more seriously, but like lovingly. She says, I dreamt that you were taken from me, from all of us, and that you suffered. And it is a dream I know to be true. But here you are, forever changed before my eyes. It is not done yet.
He reaches up and puts a paw on her cheek. Raphael was taken from you. He suffered so much. These are true. And only a semblance of him stands before you. But that little piece remembers your kindness. And we have much to discuss, and even more to do, my friend.
Tell me everything, and I will read the stars. And we will see your goal complete.
They do an exposition dump.
Nice.
Yeah, just close your eyes and imagine the montage of a whole bunch of the previous episodes, up to and including episode 100. Well, maybe not episode 100 in full detail, because it's a blur for Ruff at best. But yeah, finally, a long overdue update to the original catalyst to this adventure. And as you finish your sort of disjointed tales, and you perhaps even shed a few tears as you recollect the losses of some of your companions.
Izori even
and there
now.
was this sense of anxiety of, where did Izori go? What happened to her? What happened while you were buried under the rubble? How did you Ruff got you out, but something happened before that. Even to, I think it was it Lump? You got knocked out by something, Yeah. It's a strange thing, and you're suddenly reminded of that most immediate mystery, and that it needs to be solved, as well as the other current goals. And you pass hours into the night with Rin, discussing and chatting and regaling, recollecting. And as the night comes along, she does her best to read the stars. And I'm going to roll her astrology check. I haven't done this in so long, I almost forgot how it worked.
You son of a bitch, it better be good.
Let me just double check here. It's a check always appropriate to your current level. DC's by level.
Let me just check here. Yeah, astrology's still bullshit.
I would like to use Guide the Timeline if necessary.
Oh, do tell me more.
Okay, so that means I've actually got to dig into my archetype here.
Yep.
So Raphael is what's called a chrono skimmer. This means they've kind of been transposed through time and have time abilities. And Guide the Timeline is my 6th level archetype feat. And I choose an ally or foe, particularly in this sense. So you choose an ally or foe. In this instance, I'm choosing an ally. So the next round, that ally makes an attack roll or skill check. They roll it twice and take the higher result. This is a fortune effect.
Oh, great. And how often can you do that? Like once a day kind of thing?
Once a day. Yeah, they're all
Okay.
kind of once a day abilities. They're real powerful.
Yeah. Holy crap. So I've rolled it once. I'll roll it a second time. And I'll take the higher. That's amazing.
Tulok, as this is happening, he sees Raphael cast some sort of spell, and Tulok would like to cast guidance as well.
I just imagine like Raphael just walking up and kind of like putting a paw on Rin's like lower back, trying to like put his arm around her, but definitely too short to do that. So it's like paw on the small of her back and like kind of cuddling in and just like guiding her through this in his own way, and then Tulok interjecting
Just
and ruining the moment
from
with
the divan.
casting guidance.
Raises his hand,
Just raises a hand over. Yeah.
and the purple magic just kind of extends out.
Yeah, and Krucka rolls a nature check on the tea leaves in his cup.
Yeah, he's just blowing bubbles in his tea, wanting to be included.
Krucka gives her a thumbs up.
Yeah,
So that one of the things I think I like about the Chrono Skimmer and these time warp movements is things like guide the timeline. I don't think anybody would be aware that he did it because it technically never happened.
right.
Right.
So I'm
That's
imagining
incredible.
this like you doing something, but there is no indication of like any magical effect. I totally dig that. But with all things combined and the effort to succeed, sure enough, Rin rolls a success. Not a crit success, but a success. And gets the results of the augury spell. And with this Read the Stars ability, it extends that augury spell from 30 minutes to 24 hours. So a reminder of how this spell works is that you gain a vague glimpse of the future, and during the casting of the spell, you can ask about the results of a particular course of action. And the spell can predict the results, so 24 hours in the future for this. And then you basically will get a response that is wheel or woe, or good. Actually, they've changed the words on this, actually. Good, bad, or mixed results. But there is a flat check built in that if it's a secret flat check, even if it is failed, you'll also get a nothing result, and you'll never know if that came from the flat check succeeding or failing. But you do have to consider what question you are going to ask to get an idea of if it's good or it's bad or it's mixed or if there is nothing. What do you want to ask?
Scott?
I forgot that it was 24 hours, which doesn't really help quite as much because
It's
I was going to
up
ask.
to 24 hours in the future. It could be as immediate as you want.
I know, but I was hoping for longer because I want to
Normally it's
know.
like way less. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know if waiting. Maybe, actually, you know what? Because Tulok think potentially they could just do this every day.
Mhm.
So Tulok would like to ask Rin, we are torn. Would returning to the Gauntlet today be a benefit to us? Or shall we stay in town and help?
The spell can't guide you
Okay.
between two decisions. Yeah.
Someone help me.
I think
Just
I think
leave
I
the
know what
first
you're
part of
trying
the
to ask.
question.
It's got to
Just
be
the
a
first
yes.
part. Like, is it good for us to
yeah.
stay in town today?
Yeah.
Rin.
I think what you're trying to ask is returning to the Gauntlet sooner rather than later going to result a better or a worse result?
Yes.
That's what I feel like you're going for.
Yes.
So if the question is if returning now is a better or worse, the response you get, you're gonna hate this, but it's a mixed
It's
result.
mixed. Yeah, suck it,
It has to
Barn.
be. It has to be.
That's okay.
I wasn't trying to lead you into that, but that is kind of that's what I thought you were going for, and that's what it's going to be.
Well, astrology is bullshit.
It's okay. It's not the sick Cliffy I was hoping for, but
Yeah. And as she kind of levels out from this usual, this sort of nearly sort of primal experience that she goes through when she does this. She knows the response you got and how, unfulfilling it is. But she looks at you, Tulak, and says, remember that an unspecific answer to these sorts of questions also means you have leeway. It means that things are less destined. They are less specific. It is nice to know a yes or a no, a truth or a falsehood. But when things are in the air, you have sway over the result. Just as you always have. Sage Tulak. And that's what we're going to call it.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
That was fun.
Oh boy.
Thanks for that lukewarm response.
No, this. Suck it, Barn. Suck it, Barn. Suck it, Barn.
Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.